You are here because you want to improve at chess but don't know how, and that's because you have been listening to the wrong chess teachers. But now you have me. I will teach you everything without the fluff and the being vague, but if you buy a course, I will show you the actual things. So we are in a weird position, but it will be fine because the Coracon is very solid. In the previous video, I already showed you how I go about converting positions, some tactical blunders to be fair, and how I convert and how I do it better. I mean, should have done it better. Um, so it was a lot to do with not letting him infiltrate, and if you have a passed pawn and queens are traded, push your king with it, and having a brave king is clutch. My opponent is, by the way, trying to go here. Maybe this makes a lot of sense. If I do this, so it's the opening, right? I want to control the center, but I have maximum control over the center. Then I want to develop pieces. Developing this bishop doesn't make sense because it will block my knight. So develop the knight first, and I have to think about, are these two moves a threat? If you move in here, I move my knight. You cannot go into an outpost, and I think you cannot prepare going to an outpost, and then I can kick the knight. So I wanted to defend, but if I can not defend, I will not defend. So also this is a threat, but it's not really a threat. I can just move the knight, and if you go to the outpost, I can take, and take, I believe, and maybe even check to pick up the pawn, although you will have b4, but it will be fine. So I checked all of his forwards momentum. If he just develops, that's fine. If he develops like this, that's fine. Maybe I want to move this knight, this bishop, so that I can move a knight here. So maybe a move like h5 makes a lot of sense. Trying to play bishop g4 with a tempo so I can move my knight in, but that I don't think that actually works. So I could do this, but then I get hit with that, and this is defended. So um yeah, probably just this. And then if you try to move, I can just kick your knight, which improves my position. And you will have this weakness forever. So I want to develop pieces. Let's just develop pieces. I do have to think, if this and you play g4, where does my bishop move? Ew. Yeah, that's quite annoying, actually. So maybe I have to play this. Because we already saw that this doesn't actually work. So after this g4, yeah, that's quite bad. So let's move my bishop so I can move my knight. I'm still trying to develop all of my pieces and castle my king. That's my main priority now. And you always have to think about what are the main priorities in my position. The first few moves, it's probably to take the center with pawns. Then you try to develop your pieces. Then you try to castle the king. And then you try to activate your queen and your ricks alongside your pieces to pose threats to weaknesses. So he does play this just to stop my knights. If I do this, if you take, I have bishop takes with an attack on the queen, opening up the rook. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I move in my knight so I can move in this knight. But if I want my knight on c4, I probably need a rook to support it. So I'm thinking rook to c8, so I can play my knight in here, combined with this, and then maybe my queen has to help out. If this I can still kick your knight, I don't cover this. And I cannot move my knight comfortably, so maybe this is a threat because I can't really move my knight. Oh. Um, do you have a threat? Maybe you do. After this, I have to give away my bishop. So let's take. And if take, I have bishop takes, and that's fantastic. If you don't take, I will probably take myself, have a weakness here, have my knight go in. If this, I think I can take check. Maybe not. I think I have to play a6. I underestimated this move. And especially with a rook on c8, I cannot move my knight here to defend d6. So probably I underestimated this move and I had to play a6 before rook to c8. I should have thought about that longer. Always think about the threats and especially the threats that he moves to your side of the board, like these two queen moves, the knight moving in, the bishop moving in. And the knight moving in is quite a big threat, actually, especially if I move my rook to c8. I cannot move my knight to c8. So I think if he plays his knight to c8, I have to actually move my knight to g8. He missed it. Now that makes this a very good move. Okay, so I think my opponent messed up, which is fantastic. Allowing my knight here with so much pressure is horrible. And I think he will have to trade off his bishop for the knight, giving me the bishop pair. Yeah, so maybe not. So for the opening, we faced a accelerated Panov attack, which is this. And after d5, I only have faced e takes, c takes, and if d4, we just play knight to f6 and enter a normal Panov attack. It looks like he played the normal exchanged, went for a Panov attack, and we transposed to this. But he did it in this move order, and after take, d4, knight out, we go for this g6 setup. Here he has 5 different moves, but if you want to know all of the moves in theory, you will have to buy the course when it's out. If you're confused, this is, by the way, my opening course, which I am trying to publish, but it's a lot of work. But I mean, we'll see in the future. So, and let's say he does c takes, we will attack the pawn with the knight, he will probably defend, we take the pawn, and now this looks like a Scandinavian. He has 4 different moves here. But we will just play a normal position, and he just has an isolated pawn. Develop pieces, take the center, defend the center, and attack the isolated pawn. Once you have won the weak pawn, we have a 4-on-3 attack in any endgame to win us the game. Or we could push these 2 pawns and try to make a pawn break to create a passed pawn. Those are probably the game plans. But our opponent played c takes, which is a bit weird. We took back, and now he played e5. And honestly, the engine wants us to play queen to a5 or d4. Queen to a5 basically breaks every beginner rule in the opening. You should take the center, defend the center with pieces, and use them as actively as possible. Then castle your king and only then move the queen. So moving out the queen right now, I don't want to recommend that to you, beginner intermediate players. Also, d4 I think is a bit weakening because he can attack the pawn. We will have to defend the pawn. then he can just bring the bishop out to either b5 or c4, maybe pin the knight to destabilize the pawn, or just activate the bishop and attack f7, which could be weak in a lot of variations. Then he could just play d3 so that we cannot move the d4 pawn and we cannot defend the pawn with another pawn, which is very annoying. And he can develop the pieces around it. To be fair, we do take away the c3 square from the knight, but after he moved the bishop out, he can play d3 and develop the knight like this, and it will attack the pawn if we push it on d4. And we cannot defend that pawn. And you could say he has the same thing on e5, but he can always play f4 if needed, except if there's a knight on f3, but other than that. So I don't want to recommend both of these moves. I will just recommend to develop a piece, very normal opening things, which you see a lot. You attack the pawn, you defend your center. If he plays d4, which he did in the game, we just bring our bishop out. If he plays something like h3, could be annoying because after we solidify the center and open up the bishop, he has this annoying wall against our bishop. And if he now develops, we get into a very similar position where we want to develop the knight, but always g4 is a threat defended by the queen because he didn't develop the knight yet. And here we have to play a6 so that the knight and bishop cannot enter, and we can play our knight to e7 while there is no threat of a knight jumping into d6 because we cut off our bishop temporarily. So after he develops, now we have to find this f6 pawn break, which I didn't do at all. If he takes, we take back. We have an isolated pawn to fight against. I don't really have to explain all too much over there. Just fight against this pawn. Defend your center. You will probably win the pawn, have a passed pawn, trade pieces down if needed, and push your passed pawn. That's all easy. The one annoying thing is that what if he defends? If he defends, we take. If he takes with the knight, it's more of the same thing. We have a clear target, develop your pieces, attack the pawn, win this pawn, and then push for the passed pawn to promote the passed pawn. You also gotta know things like this fork existing. So imagine this knight moves, then we defend d4 twice, and we can fork these two pieces with the pawn. Because it's only defended twice, so this knight cannot really move, and we will play our knight to h6, which is quite a weird move, to be fair. Um, if he doesn't take, we will just move the bishop back to the knight back to the center because we don't want a knight on the edge, obviously. So we will move it back towards the center, attack this pawn. And once we win this pawn, we already have a passed pawn now, but then we can march two pawns, which is always better. And yeah, so the only thing you should know is what if he takes? We just take back. And yes, we damaged our structure, but the reasoning is that now after the bishop moves, we pin the knight. He has to unpin, we develop the bishop. And after castles, we can castle as well. And yes, our king is open, but our bishop defends our king well. Our knight has nice pressure and can rotate over easily. Our bishops are active and putting pressure. Our queen is also very fast to rotate to defend the king if needed. We have a very open rook. Our king is quite safe there, and we still have this target and the protected passed pawn. So we will just pressure the king, pressure the pawn, push our passed pawn if we get a chance to. And yes, we have a damage structure, but it's not the end of the world, to be fair. So that is one line, one very deep sample line I want to show you, not for you to memorize, but for you to understand the plans of the opening. What if he develops the knight? The engine actually wants you to play bishop to g4, but I will not recommend things that just bluntly disrespect opening rules, because this is a course made for everyone under 2000 and a little bit. I still learn from my own course as well. So I don't want to break opening rules. Let's just develop and protect the center. And after knight to c3, we develop the knight. This is not a threat. If he plays knight to b5 with the threat of going to d6, right, we can now move our knight to g6. And in the other line, we couldn't do that because he always had the threat of playing g4, f3, and trap our bishop. But that doesn't exist now because of this knight. That's a very, very big difference you have to know. So now he can pin it. We will just develop the queen. After he does something like this, we can just attack the bishop. After take, we take back with the knight. We have awesome pressure. We have the bishop pair. Our bishop is strong and active. I mean, we have yet to develop the dark squared bishop, but it will be very strong and active. Let's say he castles. We have this free pawn. We can take this pawn because the knight is hanging, so he has to defend the knight. We kick the bishop, activate this bishop, and put our queen back to safety. Still pressure everything here, and this will be a awesome position. By the way, I think this rook is just trapped. It's the only square to not be trapped is here, and then we have bishop to b2 trapping the rook. So this rook is just trapped in this line. So I mean, you don't have to memorize the whole, what was it, 14 move sequence. It's just memorize the beginning and then know and understand the plans, know the tactics, know the patterns, and like that, you will be very, very good. After something like queen to d2, because honestly, what do you do with white here? We can kick the bishop, has to go back. We rotate our knight into the weaknesses. After he attacks the queen, we can just move it. If he moves the knight back, we can move the queen again. Now, this might be annoying in the future, but not yet. After b4, which just tries to get our knight out of c4, we can develop, he has to defend the knight, and we can just play a very slow move because white struggles to move here. The rook has to guard the knight. It cannot go upwards, so this rook is frozen. The queen doesn't have a lot of moves. By the way, the engine really wants him to play queen to b2, which doesn't make the most sense because your queen is not doing anything. And now this knight is actually hard pinned to the king. There is a difference between a relative pin and a absolute pin. If this queen moves, you cannot legally move the knight because your king would be hanging. So that's an absolute pin. Now this is a relative pin. He can move the knight, but I will have the option to capture the queen. So this just makes the pin an absolute pin, which I don't understand. And the only upside you have is that you just now are able to play a3, which is now defended by the queen, but then b3 is hanging, so it doesn't even make sense. So, I mean, the only sensible move, in my opinion, is just to castle. We can bring back our knight, have tremendous pressure. He can move this knight. We will just retreat. That's why h6 is very valuable. He can just make a waiting move because moving is very difficult. This pawn is very much hanging. Our bishop is a beast. Our rook is very comfortable on this file. Let's say we just bring out our dark squared bishop with a tempo on the knight, has to go back, we can castle. And after something like knight to a 4, we capture, he captures back, and we can attack this rook again. After it moves, kick the knight, has to go in. It is attacking the pawn. We defend it. He can try to go in, but we can now attack the rook. And yes, this is a very, very long sample line, but you don't have to memorize all of this. You just have to understand what our plan is and what we are doing. We are activating all of our pieces, stopping all of his threats. We can even let the knight infiltrate, and it's not that big of a deal. And we have tremendous pressure on this pawn. And after something like rook to c8, defending this rook and x-ray pressuring his c5 rook, it looks like he has knight to d6 attacking the rook, and we will have to shuffle. But actually, we can take. And because we took, the rook is now hanging. And after you capture our knight, we capture the rook, you capture our rook, and we capture the knight. It was an equal trade, except we won the d pawn. Now we have a bishop pair. Your knight and pawn are, by the way, still hanging. We have an incredibly active rook. Probably you have to defend the knight and the bishop, so something like knight to f3 makes a lot of sense. And I think you're just completely losing after knight rook to c2, which infiltrates on the back rank. You will have to move the bishop probably. We can now move this bishop anywhere we want with an attack on the a pawn. We still have a incredible bishop. Probably move the bishop to a3 to be fair, so that we keep control over c1, so that the rook cannot take the open file, which is huge. And like that, we will have a protected passed pawn on the d file. We will probably win the a pawn because we have way more activity. Then we have a 2-on-1 on the queen side. So probably we just make this pawn break. And after takes and takes, we have two passed pawns and the bishop pair. This is completely winning. Do you have to memorize the 30 move sequence? Obviously not. Just know the plans, know the ways to pressure, know how to develop the pieces, and the rest will flow, because this assumes that your opponent practically plays all of the best moves as well, which will obviously not happen. So that was for the opening. If you learned anything, subscribe. Other than that, let's go back. So do I want to do this in castle, or do I just want to improve my queen? Can I get hit with this? I can give it check, you go back. I don't know. Maybe I still want to go for this plan. That was something I wanted to do anyway. Um, so this knight is a defensive masterpiece. Moving this bishop is useless. I can only move it here and it doesn't really achieve anything. I could take the bishop, and after it takes, I do fix his structural weaknesses. So if I do this and you give me a check, yeah, that doesn't make sense, does it? So what if I do this, you get in? That doesn't make sense either. So maybe do this first and then move in, so that the queen. So now I'm blunting these two pieces and combining that with, now I can move my knight to a6, and if queen check happens, I can probably play b5. And my knight is defended. I do have to think about knight takes, pawn takes, queen takes. And I think I can play rook to c6 to stop the check, defend it with my knight, which is defended by the queen. But that's very complicated. So maybe I don't want to do that. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't want those complications. So maybe I have to play b5 first, so that this check can't even happen. But I do have to invest a tempo into that. Which, oh, the knight moved. Um, so if I do this, check, I can block, and you cannot sacrifice the knight nor the bishop anymore. So that should be fantastic. And now I can try to get in here, trying to win this or get tactics. And basically, my whole plan is just put my pieces active, make threats, and probably win the game like that. I'm just trying to get maximum activity and use my maximum activity to win some weakness. This is weak for now. If he moves it, this will be weak. This is a weakness. That's probably a weakness. Um. Okay, so I don't want to give away that. If I move here, queen check, pawn blocks, you can take with a check, take. I will have to probably defend with the rook or move my king. I think move the king actually. Oh wait, no. After all of that, I can still move the knights. But then this happens, but I can defend, so I think I don't want to give away my bishop. Maybe this move is quite strong. Take with the bishop, take with the knight, take with the pawn, and I have a horrific structure, but I did win a pawn for it. I don't know. It's a complicated position. Probably here or there I was losing for a couple of moves. But I don't know, it's very complicated. After this, take, rook take, I have nice pressure. Still developing this bishop is quite a headache. So that now blunders. So what if I take? You have to take with the bishop, I believe. Mm, do this, take, and I have the file. I can still move in. If I move in right now, you have take, and I did open up the file, but I think check just wins the pawn because my knight doesn't block it anymore. After take, if queen take, I have this fork. You have to move, and can I take? Maybe not. What if I take with an attack on the queen? Take a rook, take a queen, take a queen, take a rook, take a piece is just the equal trade. If I just go back, I didn't achieve anything. If I do this, take, rook take, pawn take, queen check is just a free piece. What if I do this? Knight is not hanging, but after take, I do have the file. Pfft. Why is this so difficult? Do I just have to take? If knight take, I have this fork. You have to move in here. And then after take... I don't know, I think I have to take, but I just can't spend all of my time. So, are you not scared of this? Queen has to go here. If I do this, you get check. I can take, defend everything, but my bishop opens up to nothing. If I take, you can take back. If I do this to pin, and then after take and take, I can maybe try to go here. I don't know, you have more weaknesses, so maybe trading queens and going to an endgame favors me. You cannot check because of the pin. If you do this, I cannot take, which is quite annoying. So let's pre-move this just to be a bit more time efficient. And I don't know. I can always go for the plan of taking the bishop, the dark squared bishop, and um going into a bishop pair endgame, which should favor me, but I think I'm a bit behind in development. I'm not sure. It's difficult. That looks bad. Hold up. I think I take and now pin the knight to the rook. And how do you defend both? Why did he not calculate anything? Okay, so how I found that natural is that you move the knight into the range of the rook if I can move the bishop. So I only have to move this knight to allow my bishop to move, and if I move the knight with a threat, now I can move the bishop, and if I can move the bishop with a threat, I have two threats at the same time. Good luck. And that's how you find tactics without even thinking. So now both knights are hanging. You give up this knight with a check, which is valid. And now you have to save this. Fair enough. And I have to think. I have take, take, and take, by the way. I could castle, I think. But, I mean, I'm now up a pawn or something, so let's just be up another pawn. Or I'm up... Oh no, I'm up a piece for 2 pawns. Your light squared bishop is quite useless. You will probably develop it. Maybe I just move in with a thread and force you to trade and go for a majority attack. So now again, I will convert a position and guide you through my thought process of converting a position. So first of all, he has this weakness. If I win that weakness, does that benefit me? I don't think so, because you only have one way of winning a game of chess, and it is by checkmate. You could argue also by convincing your opponent you will mate him. And winning the G pawn will not get me any closer, because the only way I mate him up a piece is by promoting a pawn. So I'm up a piece for a pawn, which means that I'm not really winning, you know? Um, what is your threat? I can take. Go back. Is this your threat? I think so. So what if I do this? How do you defend? So see, my opponent is trying to find counterplay. How do you find counterplay? The same way. So I'm trying to checkmate him, but I can. So the only thing I can think about now is make a passed pawn. If I take, you do this, and after take and take, I probably have to defend everything like this, and he doesn't have a passed pawn, and now I have this majority. Do I want to allow that? Maybe? But only because I have king f7 attacking the rook, defending the pawn, and defending this. But if he can win the e6 pawn, he has a passed pawn, which is a form of counterplay. So what if I do this? You go here. I have takes with a check, which is a forced rook trade. So after takes and takes, I'm threatening the bishop, which will have to move. And after take with a check, I have to move again. Uh, yeah, I think your counterplay is shot. So this, I could maybe... No, I don't think that works. So I want him to take this because after takes, I have a passed pawn, and that's what I'm talking about. I really want the passed pawn. So he gives me it. So now that I have a passed pawn, I do have a way of winning this, which is huge. So let's make my passed pawn a protected passed pawn, which is a way bigger threat. Now his king cannot leave this side of the board, but mine can. And probably this will happen, and I think after takes and takes, my king coming up, my rook and bishop do a great job at um, defending everything. So how do I improve? I probably want to win this if I can. And I want to stop this counterplay. So what if I move my bishop so that after this I still have, I don't know. I really like the positioning of my bishop. Maybe just take the open file and see what he does. So his king has to stay here, but mine can move. That's a very big advantage. I'm still up a piece for a... Ooh. So if I take, you take, I can push my passed pawn. You can stop it. Yeah, so that doesn't make sense for me to do. So let's just threaten some checks, and after take and take, I still have my passed pawn. So take, take, I still have my protected passed pawn, and you cannot enter with your king. So I really want to leave his pieces very passive. That's why I took the open file. I want to keep my protected passed pawn, which is my win condition. So what I always tell you is the difference between a winning position and a win condition. This is a winning position. I'm up a piece for a pawn, and this is my win condition. I want to push that pawn in order to win the game. That's my plan. So if I can achieve some king activity or some threats with my rook, that would be great. But he's leaving my bishop very passive. So if I move this, is that too big of counterplay? I can take, move here. You have this check. I have to move again. I think that's fine, but my bishop is still not active. But it should be fine. So I think this is his only plan. And after take and take, I go here, you give me a check. Yeah, so take, here, check, move, you have takes, and now you have counterplay. So I cannot allow you to have this. So I have to take... You have this threat. So I can take, but after take, you have a win condition, which are these passed pawns. And if I don't allow that, I allow here check. I have to move. So I can go here instantly, take the file, here, take the file, and then move my king, and you cannot give me this check. If I take, you take, I move. You have counterplay because you have passed pawns. I don't want to grant you the counterplay. What if I move this, achieving the opening of my bishop and defending this? I'm covering this for now. So maybe this is better. You probably have to defend the pawn. And if I check, you come back. I don't know. Maybe if you go here, I can just attack this. Yeah, so maybe this is better. I don't allow checks, I don't allow passed pawns, and I still keep my pieces active. If you attack, I can probably just take. So now I can take. If you give me a check, I can just retreat. So I think you just gave me the pawn for nothing, which is incredible. I mean, very good. And yeah, so I could move. You don't have a check. You can attack my pawn, though. I can give a check, which forces you back because of my pawn and my bishop working together very well. You will have to go back. Oh, wait, you cannot go there. Because of my bishop. That's great. Yeah, okay, this is great. So I stop your infiltration anywhere. And you cannot do this, which is also fantastic. So your only form of counterplay now is trying to win this pawn or trying to make this counterplay or by an accident of me checkmating me. We saw in the previous game that if you want to convert a position, your king has to be brave. So my opponent chose to go for this pawn break as his counterplay. So I can give a check, forcing you back. I can also give a check, but then you come forwards. So I'm not sure, but let's just give a check and see what happens. Yeah, that's probably smart. So what if I do this? You give me a check. I can just take, and you cannot do anything. So I think I can just do this, and if I give this check, you have to go here. I can give a check, and that's mates, if I'm not mistaken. Ew, that is what you want to do. But I can give a check. If you go here, I can give a check, and if you take, I promote. So I think he already messed up. If you go here, this is mate. Okay, my opponent just didn't think. So that's mate, and if you do this, I can give a check and covering this. So if you take my bishop, I can promote with a check, and I'll find a checkmate here rather easily. So that was a great game. Let's go to the analysis. Someone in the comment section told me to do an analysis first without an engine and then with an engine. So let me know in the comments if you actually think this is helpful. I will just experiment with it. So this is called the accelerated pan of attack. It resembles as if you did something like this, which is the pan of attack, and you enter this position. Just the pan of attack, but if you play c4 without d4 first, it's called an accelerated pan of attack, and after take, usually they play take, and then d4, or the knight out or something. This is probably met with d4 though, but I will have done an opening analysis already, so it doesn't really make sense to do much of it here. So after this, and he pushes, this looks just like, let's say here, push, I push, and then somehow this happens or something. No, I mean, it's like I did this, but then this variation, and after you do this, I just continue very normally. I don't know. It doesn't really look great for my opponent or any logical, I don't know. But yeah, this happened, so I get my bishop out, which is the whole point of my opening. So the first step is try to take the center with the pawns, which we are both doing. Then I took the center, he did whatever that's trying to do, and he took more of the center. So I develop a piece. because you cannot advance, you cannot do this, and I just fully took the center. Maybe the engine wants me to go d4, but it's an analysis without an engine, so we'll see after. So I took the center to the maximum, so I started developing pieces. This solidifies my center and prepares my pieces to go out. This pawn structure is restricting my bishop a lot. And here I just developed a knight. I saw that all of his forward moves don't do anything. I did miss that if knight comes here, I do this to stop here. He might have a threat with g4. I did miss that, to be honest. Because if I go here, you do this. So I think I miscalculated, to be fair. Although I might have check. And if you move, I mean, that's defended. I cannot enter. I cannot take. If take, knight take, I still cannot infiltrate. I don't know. It's complicated. We'll see with the engine. But I think I miscalculated and didn't see this g4 threat. So actually, it didn't make sense, and probably I had to play a6 first. But we'll see with the engine. Let me know if you'll like this without an engine first. So here I played rook to c6. I really think that this could mess me up. I really blocked my own knight, and now it will be very difficult for me to stop the g6 infiltration. Maybe even knight to g8 is forced to control this with the bishop. So maybe I did mess up here. To be fair, he plays h5 trying to trap my bishop. So I do have to respond to that. So I think again that this is just the great move and I have to go back to g8. But he didn't find it, and this just alleviates all of the pressure. Now I can go to f5. Now this is... So I think this is an inaccuracy, if not a mistake. And after you develop, I don't know, I have to develop as well, but it's very, very difficult. So I don't know. He did this. I should have thought a bit longer about the purpose. I thought just the purpose is go to d4, but defend d4, but maybe it was to go to f4. I had to think about that a bit longer, to be fair. So I tried to make a threat here, but it doesn't really work. And after you just develop the rook, I think I'm forced to take. I tried to do something here, but after queen to c3, all of my threats are gone. So I don't know, maybe I just don't really have a threat here. I thought pinning this is great because his queen is stronger than mine, and queen to c8 was probably a threat. So I cannot cover this, defend my knight, try to put pressure. I really want to play queen to b6 to defend the knight and apply more pressure. But I think after queen to c8, I'm just cooked. So I think I have to trade queens, and after take and take, he just blundered. And then, I mean, you align this. So if I move the bishop with a threat, I also have a threat on the knight, and you're probably cooked, but I can't really move my bishop with a threat because after this, you can just move the knight. But I can take this with a threat, forcing you to do something. So I allow my bishop to move first. Here nothing's hanging. I took a piece, so I'm thinking if you can save it somehow. But I think you're forced to take back. I have this, and now both knights are hanging, and you cannot move one knight to defend the other. Maybe no. I thought maybe something like this works, but I can just take, and this is also pinned. So you can move the knight with an attack on my rook, but your rook is hanging too. So I think that never works. Yeah, so I think you're just cooked after this. And then after take with a check, he's losing the knight, so he might as well give it away for an extra pawn. He has to do this. I think he should defend it with the bishop. To be fair, then I can get in, and if you take, I can maybe even take the knight with an attack on the rook first. You have to move the rook. Then I can take the bishop, and then you take my bishop, and then I can play b5, solidifying everything, and I traded everything off. And did I win a pawn? I don't think so. So you have 2 pawns for a piece, but it's very traded down and easy to win. So I don't know. The engine will show us. So after this take and take, I do win another pawn. I messed up. I do win another pawn, and yeah, this just lands my knight into an outpost. I didn't really like that, but I guess that this is almost a fork, and you don't want to take, but this knight is way too strong. You try to go for a counterplay, which is very good. I go for my counterplay. I was really expecting you to do something like this. Um, yeah, I don't know. Here I might just take, go here, try to get my knight maybe into this outpost, move my rook to the open file so that I'm active and safe. Winning this pawn should be annoying because I get the majority attack instantly, making it a passed pawn, which is my win condition again. So either you have 2 win conditions, a checkmating attack or a passed pawn. So I'm trying to make a passed pawn because I'm not checkmating him. So I don't know, he took, now I have a passed pawn, so he just gave me a win condition. I think the engine will dislike that. And after this, I just make it a protected passed pawn, maybe getting my king over, or just solidifying my position, getting more active, but I think always rook to f3 is very annoying because I can't really defend this pawn with anything else than my king because I have a dark squared bishop and you control the square in front of it. And that's like the previous video and especially the video before that one. It was about weaknesses, and this pawn is very weak on the opposite color of my bishop. So if my bishop was on g6, defending everything, stopping all of your pawn advancement, I could just run with my king, take the open file so your rook cannot do anything, and then this is very easily winning. But I have a weakness on the opposite color. You have an open file to it, you control the square in front of it, so my king has to stay defending this as long as your rook can attack it. So I make this a passed, protected passed pawn, take the open file, you can try whatever, but I can just infiltrate, and after take and take, your king still cannot enter, which is fantastic. Now you have another weakness. I can attack the weakness, you can go for a counterplay, but that is not the end of the world because you don't create a passed pawn. So now I have to think about what do I want to do. This blocks my bishop. I have to defend this because if I lose the pawn, you have passed pawns, which are counterplay again. So I don't want to give you passed pawns. If I do this, you just give me a check and I have to block my bishop. So I might as well block my bishop instantly, but I can also just do this, defend my pawn, leave my bishop open. I cover this check. So this is probably the best move. You can threaten my bishop, I guess, but I can take, and after check, I can move. If you want to attack this pawn, fine, but you cannot do it like this. After something like this, I can move in and you don't have a threat. You cannot do this. And I cover all of your other infiltration. And if you want to go to the other file to threaten this, you cannot because of my bishop. So my bishop is fantastic. Now I'm a clean piece. My rook is very active. His rook is also active, but I really just don't want him to have passed pawns. My opponent finds e4, which is a good try to try and make a passed pawn. But I have check, you have to go to the back rank, and I think that this is a great move. You can try to attack my pawn. Now I don't have king to d5 trying to defend it like this, which is good, but it's already too late. This check comes, you probably have to go here. Because if you move here, this is checkmate. If you move here, I will promote to a knight, and that's checkmate. No, it's not. You can go here. So I will just promote to a queen with a check. You'll go here, and this is mate. I thought promoting to a knight is checkmate because I have this and this, so I cover all of these. So if I promote to a knight, I cover everything, but I don't cover the back rank, which is sad. So yeah, you cannot do that. So this is mate, this is mate, this is promoting with a check to a queen, and if this I cannot promote because you will take, but I can give a check with my bishop. My pawn is still defended, and you cannot stop this. So if you move here, I might think about promoting to a knight, but probably promoting to a queen is fine. And I just have to defend against this, which is maybe not that easy. Oh, it is easy. I can just go here and I cover this check and I cover this. And I will find a checkmate on the next move. I'm threatening this mate. I'm probably threatening a checkmate in two here. Here, you're forced to take, and then rook here is checkmate. So I'm just threatening 20 types of checkmate, so I will win that as well. But my opponent just ran into a checkmate in one. So let's go to the engine analysis. Chess says that I play with 93% accuracy, one blunder, one mistake. I mean, one inaccuracy. My opponent made two blunders, a mistake, and four inaccuracy. So we go for this. He took, which isn't the best, and then pushed. Apparently, queen out is already very, very good. Pushing the pawn is fine as well. But it's quite a weak pawn because I cannot actually defend it with a pawn because I don't have e5. So I don't know. I like my knight move, giving him the center. Going for bishop f5, just developing my pieces, which is fine. And here I have to play a6. This is slightly worse. He finds the best move. And this is very bad. He can just launch this attack instantly. And this is probably a threat in the future. If you do it right now, I can do this because this is not a threat. I can just trade it off and fine. So that is not a threat now. But after g4, I don't have this, and I really have to find this a6 ID. A6 just prepares my development after takes. The best move is to push, but then I have this and that's defended. And if you in this variation move in, I can just take. And oh, to be fair, check is annoying. Take, go here with a check. I have to move. I will probably go up a pawn. No, no, not even. Oh, this is annoying. Should have calculated that. So if you do this, my best move is to preemptively move here or control it like this. Probably I would have played this, to be fair. Usually I have quite a defensive playstyle with black. Yeah, so but knight to c8 is fine. So I really shouldn't have played this. That's horrible. And as I said, this is quite annoying, and I have to put my knight back to g8, which is obviously bad. I just danced the salsa with my knight for no reason. So, although oh, okay, I thought I would have IDs like knight to g6, but I really don't. I just kick the knight and go back probably. And I mean, to be fair, he did the same thing, but I don't know, I danced the salsa way more. So yeah, that was quite bad out of me. But he didn't really stop me. I did find the only valid move. Could have done this, but yeah, then this is a threat. So I really have to make a threat. You push the pawn, which is the best move. I thought that this was way better. But I gotta go back and then kick the knight. So I mean, I guess we both dance the salsa. You go here to just go back, and I went here just to go back and go back again. So I don't lose too much time, to be fair. But I mean, I think that was not the best. And here I do have to develop my bishop. I push the pawn, which is not the worst, but not good. That's an inaccuracy, and knight here is one of the best moves. That's an inaccuracy, and I have to see take the bishop. You have to take back, and now I can move my. Oh, and if you take this with an. Oh, your queen is hanging. Okay, so here I had to see that I want to move my bishop anyway to an active square, but my knight is in the way. So trade off the knight, and then I can go to an active square. I didn't see that at all, and after you move, I can now move my knight in, defend it with the bishop, which is defended by the rook, and now your rook is actually trapped unless you go here, but then I give this check, and I fork you. Damn. Okay, I didn't see that at all. And my you don't have to see the fork and everything. You just gotta see my bishop infiltrates, my rook is active, my knight will enter, my queen can give a check. My king is safe, and you will probably find a tactic there because your pieces are just so active against a weak king. I didn't see that. And it's basically the same motive of takes, and then you trade and move the bishop. So I went here, this. Should have activated my bishop, but I didn't see what to do after take, back. I oh, I can just go back. Yeah, okay. Sure. Didn't see that. But I mean, that's quite a boring position, but fine. I took, and now I'm losing. I enter, you go here. I have to trade queens, and after takes and takes, I'm slightly worse, but you just blunder. I just gotta see this tactic and I'm fine. He does find the best move. And after take and take, I win another pawn. Now I have to convert this position. After this, I obviously go to the outpost. You do whatever this is. I could take the pawn and then even threaten to win another pawn and have two connected passed pawn. Why didn't I do this? Am I threatening to sag the bishop? Oh no, I'm just freezing your king. And then probably I do something like this, take, push my passed pawn, and your king has to keep guarding this bishop. And if you move it, my rook is so active. Check here. Oh, I can take, and if you take my rook, I can fork you. That's beautiful. Yeah, a lot of tactics. Still, that's cool. So I just want to create a passed pawn. I did this so that you probably trade. And I was expecting you to move and then take the pawn, which is not the best because I do give you the open file. And then I can sack my bishop for two pawns and be up a lot of pawns. Have a majority attack here, have a weakness, and probably make some more passed pawns. That's valid. But I wouldn't give up my bishop like that. To be fair, I would much rather play with the bishop. Yeah, I don't know. But I shouldn't have given him the open file maybe, but he took. Now I have an open, a protected passed pawn, which is the best move. You move, and I can. Oh my god, I missed this. Take, and if you take, I fork you. So I want two more pawns and convert it very easily. Now I'm up a bishop and a pawn, which is obviously very easy to win, especially when I already have a passed pawn and you don't. So I did miss a tactic as well. But I took the open file. You try to do whatever that is. I just improve my rook. Take is not a threat. I still have my protected passed pawn and I keep your king out. I try to improve my bishop, and after take and take, this is fine. I should have gone for a rook trade, but I don't know, I like my rook. So I do this, and I can take the pawn. Check is not a threat, I can go here. This is an inaccuracy, and after check here, pushing is not the best because you have take. And now you can defend the pawn, but not really. and I will win another pawn, and you can try to defend the pawn, but you cannot defend the pawn. I don't know why pushing the pawn is that good then, but whatever. So this is a blunder. I have a mate in 6. I find the check and you blunder mate in 1. I already told you that this is probably his best move. I did see the bishop sacrifice. Probably you have to take, then I can promote to a queen. And after this, I have check, and anywhere you move my rook to a2 is mate. It's defended. If your king's here, that's mate as well. So I did see the mate in 6. Very easy to see because it's just the forcing move. I'm threatening to promote with a check. Anywhere you move, I will promote with a check. The only way you don't allow me to promote with a check is king to b2, but you just have to see this. And if you take, I promote with a check. If you don't take, I can probably make a queen, which is the best move. And after take, I can move here, which I told you. After this, take, you cannot stop me. After this, I have always check and then the check with the rook, which I already told you. After this, apparently there's a maiden one too. That's quite clean with the pawn, but I mean quite unnecessary. I think this is way easier. So I did see every form of a mate. I hope you learned a lot. Subscribe if you did, and I will see you in the next one.